Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage, and today we're going to be looking at XRP. So let's get into the charts. Okay, so what we're looking for now, I just want to discuss this before we jump into the micro scale here. There's two ways that I'm looking at this move down. We can potentially count this as an A, B, and a C, in which case we could look to actually complete into this low here, in which case this could then be a completed corrective move, and we could be starting our move to the upside. The other way that I'm looking at this is looking at the potential that instead of having this as a five-wave move, what we could end up with is something rather like this, where we have this as WXY, looking for an additional X wave here, and then looking for a potential drop to the downside still with a Z wave. So if we fail to achieve good structure here, and we just form a three-wave move, potentially we could still see this drop in the Z wave. So the reason why I'm still looking at this potential here is we actually came up 1-to-1 with this as an ABC. We came up to this 58.36 and we got a rejection off that point. So now what I want to see is whether we can continue to push to the upside, whether we find support in some key areas, or whether we're actually going to see a deeper drop down, potentially down at a 1-to-1 level towards this 1464. Obviously, it doesn't have to come 1-to-1. It could be a case that it only goes 0.618, in which case it would not be as deep, obviously, potentially just breaking these lows here. But we would get more information, obviously, once we have some structure to work with. Okay, with that all said and done, what we need to consider within this structure is that potentially we could have actually had a three-wave move up, and this could be completed. So what we are looking for here is, something like this. We could have just had this as A, B, and C, and then we completed here. And this could actually look to complete a corrective structure where we look at this instead of as a C wave, we look at this as a WXY with the Y wave towards this zone. And we've completed with the three wave. So basically, the idea is that if this is right, what we could be looking for is actually this drop to the downside. So that's what we need to just keep in the back of our minds while we are looking for this bullish setup. So we're going to talk about that bullish setup now. And I was originally looking at the last time we watched this, as last time we did the video, rather not watched it. I was looking at the potential that we had something like this going on, where we had an additional 1-2, 1-2 here. But the way we've broken down here, it makes it less likely now, in my opinion, that this is what's playing out. There is a way that potentially this could still be looking to extend up into this higher range for the 63.46 as a target, but this way wouldn't really fit anymore. So instead, what I'm looking at is something like this. Looking at the structure here, and I'm actually going to come into the smaller time frames here for this. Let's just get this back to scale here. Here we go. So what I'm looking for within this, I think I'm no longer making, why am I? Yeah. So what I'm looking for within this structure is basically the potential that within this, we could have had this as a wave one as a diagonal, this is a two, this is a three, fourth wave triangle, fifth wave, potentially completed. So now this is viable as long as we stay below this 5850. If we did actually break back above this, then I would be more inclined to think that potentially within this, there's a way of counting this third wave into this high. We could have had a fourth wave triangle, and then we're looking for a fifth wave like this. You would have to potentially then subdivide the move something like this, where you would say this was 1-2, another 1-2-3-4-5, and then basically still looking for that possibility of a fifth wave to the upside. If this does take place, what I would be looking for as a potential target area for this would be towards a 64.55 to the 60.74, but we don't have confirmation of that, and the moves to the upside at the moment aren't really sort of supporting this. We'll have to see how it progresses, but for the time being, I'm just treating this in this manner. So there's two things again to discuss here. Basically, we haven't reached 1.618 of this wave one. It is, however, possible that this could still be a wave three location. So this could still be a fourth wave playing out here, and we could still be looking for a fifth wave to the upside. The difference is, though, I'd want to see a more substantial wave form here, something in relation to this. And the problem is we don't really have a lot of space here in relation to this wave one high, because we can't cross this point here of this 43.30 range. So if we do get a three wave move down here potentially and hold this 4.564 range, to this 4839 area. Basically, what we could look for is continuation up. I wouldn't say that this is completed here already and we're looking for a fifth, just because of the sheer size, if we want to look at it in this manner. The alternative is that we are actually still within a third wave here, and potentially, instead of looking at this as a 1 2 and trying to look at this as a three wave pattern, sorry, as a third wave to the upside rather, what we could potentially have is something along these lines. So this is something we need just keeping a track on, where we have this as a 1 2 and then potentially we've set up for another one, and we're looking for this as a wave 2. So this would be looking for a much more bullish move off the back of this. Could potentially look to be pushing us up towards this zone of this $1.62 to this $1.29 as a target area, depending on how the waves exactly form here. But what we would need to do in order for this still to be valid would be, we cannot lose this zone, this lower area here of this 4373, and we would have to find support in this zone here of this 4507 to this 3883 rather. And basically we'd be looking for that potential of coming down in a bigger correction pattern. So this, I think, is quite a likely option in my opinion, and this is what I'm looking out for as long as we actually fail to break back above this high of this 5850. What we could see is a bigger three-wave move to the downside here, looking for this zone of this $1.43. Can't really see it there. It's 144.93 at a 1 to 1. So that's off of this current high here. So the reason I'm also looking at this is this move to the upside, looking at this as a three-wave move. We actually got rejected perfectly off this 1 to 1 again. So what I want to see is whether this move actually starts to break down and takes these lows. If we take these lows, that would invalidate any kind of account where this is potentially a 1 2 and then we look to push to the upside. But for as long as they are untouched, we do need to be aware there is always a potential this could look to extend out from this point directly. But what I would be looking for with this, if this is the case, is basically seeing a bigger move up past this 54.84 region. So if we do move up past that, it does become possible. The problem is, looking at this internal structure here, this does look like a five-wave move to me. So the way I'm looking at this is basically as a running flat, where this is A, this is a B, and then we've got this as a C wave. So until proven otherwise, basically, this is what I'm looking at here. The possibility of coming back down towards this the 0493 area. So 4493 area. The 1.618 of this, and now this is something we need to be cautious of. If we did start to break down in a deeper way here past this 3981, this could then tie into the idea of having a bigger five-wave move to the downside. 1 2 3, get a fourth and a fifth. And if we had something like this play out, this move in itself wouldn't happen in solidarity. There would be potentially a additional third three-wave move up and then continuation to the downside, and that could then look for that lower target of that Y wave that we discussed earlier. So sorry, the Z wave that we discussed earlier, which would be, I'll just throw it back on for reference sakes, which would be potentially lower down here towards this 1464. But if we did form a zigzag below this low, it would suffice as as a completed move. So obviously we'd have to monitor the structure as that plays out. But yeah, for as long as we stay below this high, I am looking for that potential to come down a little bit deeper within this zone and potentially test these areas here, where I'm looking at this move here as a potential ABC to the upside, looking for this C wave down. So like I said, what we would want to see to invalidate this is breaking back above this high here. If we fail to do that, then basically I'd be looking to see how we react in this area. That 1 to 1 would bring us right into this zone of this 50%. It would be this 4507. Would also be lining up quite nicely with the center trend line of this previous channel that we were in, as well as that it would be a retest of this support zone over here that we consolidated above a little bit and then broke down from. So it would be interesting to see whether we come back and actually retest this zone, see if we hold it. If we fail to, then potentially that could be setting us up for that deeper drop to the downside. So at the moment there is some potential for bullish extension here, but really I'd want to see these lower support zones hold. If we fail to break back down against this, past this 89.80, potentially we could look for that direct push to the upside, and then we could still be looking at being within this bigger third wave here. So this is what I'm keeping an eye on. If we fail to actually break down past this point here, of, like I said, of this 49.84, I will be looking out to see whether, we start to build impulsive structure here to the upside, where potentially this move here becomes, a one, come back down for a two, we get a three, four, and a five, and then push up into this higher range here of the 62.89. If that does play out, basically, then what I'll be looking for is potential to find support lower down here. Um, Direct, well, if we're looking at it as a fourth currently, this our support zone, this 5207 to this 5467. But if we had to move up to this 618, that would push this target area up, and then I'd be anticipating coming back into this previous zone here of this 50 cent 61 potentially as a target area for that. Obviously, we need to see how this plays out, and make sure that if you are enjoying the content and you'd like to know in future, that you have subscribed. And while you're down there, you may as well hit that like and subscribe button. If you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone, I'm going to leave it there. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next one.